Evening. It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the April 20th, 2016 meeting of the Novi Library Board of Trustees. Trustee Vermer, would you please do the roll call?
Thank you. Melissa Agosta?
Here.
William Lawler?
Here.
Dave Mesner?
Here.
Tara Mesner?
Here.
Doreen Tovar is excused. Ramesh Verma is present. Geoffrey Wood? Absent, excused. Ruchira? Engadadi Gary? Cindy Hall?
Present.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Shall we stand and say the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. If everyone will take a look at the agenda for tonight's meetings. Does anyone have anything they would like to add, change, or comment regarding tonight's agenda? Hearing nothing, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nope, it is passed. Looking next at the next point, the consent agenda. Julie, there's one item that I was hoping you could explain to us, at least I wasn't familiar with it.
Sure.
It's a $14,245 item near the top of page 4. If you
Yes.
could tell us what that was for?
That is some equipment for our computers that we are putting in for the new library, for the second floor, part of our software upgrade in order to add the new hardware that we've just installed. So it was a cost out of our IT department.
Okay, good, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions regarding either the claims and warrants L541 or the regular meeting minutes, which are also part of the consent agenda? Well, pretty simple so far. I would entertain another motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Point number 5, correspondence. I don't believe we have any, Julie?
We do not.
Okay. And presentations or special guests, I don't believe we have any.
We do not.
All right. That brings us to the first of 2 opportunities for audience comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session. Therefore, library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. Seeing no one coming forward, we'll move on to the next point.
Mr. President,
Yes,
is it 5 minutes or 3 minutes?
it's 5 per our bylaws. Yeah.
City, no.
City is 3.
Correct, but our bylaws are 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Student representative report.
So in the month of March, the first program was the Kidpreneur Coding Workshop, which was held on March 4th, and participants were taught coding skills to design and create a game in less than 2 hours. And then we also had the Battle of the Books program, which took place on March 12th, and at this program, students at the beginning of the year formed teams, and on March 12th, they competed in terms of answering questions on those books. And then March 16th was the Savings for College program, and Megan Buonotto of the Michigan Education Trust shared her knowledge on how to save and how to fund for tuition for your college. And March 28th was the beginning of the teen writing contest at the library, and participants are encouraged to submit an original poem or a short story, and it's open to teens in grades 9 through 12, and entries are accepted until April 22nd. And on March 29th, teens met to learn about skincare, fashion, and style in preparations for prom at the Prom 101 program. And in total, for the month of March, Teen Space had 672 attendees. And for the Teen Advisory Board update, at the March meeting, we had the opportunity to have 3 guest speakers. The first was Mr. Alan Bialek, a former veteran, and he reached out to TAB to share his passion for teaching the next generation the skills that he has learned through his career, through workshops and storytelling. And he also wants to work with TAB in creating library programs that honor and share the stories of veterans throughout the community. The second guest speaker was Jackie Small from the city of Novi, who's the human resources specialist, and she came in with a presentation teaching TAB members on skills for interview and how to approach the interview process. And the final guest speaker was Information Service Librarian Erin Durrett, who spoke about creating teen programs using the library's 3D printer, and she hopes to work with TAB in that we can create some special programs that allow members to create pieces using the printer that they can come back years later to look at.
Great.
And for upcoming programs, the Teen Book Club will be meeting on April 12th, and there will be a Draw Your Own Anime and Manga program on April 14th, and the Tween Poetry Fun program will be on April 16th.
Great. Looks like you had a busy month. Thank you. Yeah, any other comments, questions for Cindy? Great. Thank you, Cindy. Moving on to number 9, the President's Report Goals Update. Julie?
Yes, I'm happy. I know we have a lot on the agenda, and we're going to be going into executive session potentially this evening. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the goals instead of going through them real lengthy this evening, if you would like. So please, I open the floor up for any questions you might have.
Excuse me, I forgot to ask this executive. We have to, for the review, we are going to that executive?
No, this is not for review. This is for a written document that we received from an attorney.
Now, what you're saying that we can talk about, one of the points in this strategy is, number 1 point is, look for the cost cutting measures is already there for us. Now, we bought some of the items, and then we sold some of the items. The question is, how we will be using that money?
That goes back into, most of the items that were sold were IT related, and it goes back into the IT account. So we've gone ahead and put those, because it's not a donation, it's a purchase back from us. We've gone ahead and put those monies back in the accounts that it would attribute to the budget and the department that would have been working with it.
How much was the money?
I don't have a total this evening, but I'd be happy to get that for you if you'd like. We're still selling some things, so if you don't mind, I'd like to wait, and I could probably put a comprehensive figure together for you in a couple months, knowing that we've kind of stopped doing that, but I'll make a note for it.
How do we go about doing the selling?
We first start with it's called MishLib, which is a listserv, which goes to Michigan libraries, because we figure what we're selling might be of interest to other libraries. We start there, and then from there we go to BidNet, which is through the city, and we handle a lot of, we've put a lot of things on BidNet in the past, our van as an example, and that is then city countywide.
Does those two allow you to sell a pretty good amount?
It does. We usually have fairly good results. In
Right.
fact, the library listserv is a wonderful resource for us, because again, we're selling things that are usually of interest to other libraries. And it might be a smaller library that doesn't have the opportunities that we've had, in order for them, maybe we're upgrading, but for us, that what we're selling might be an upgrade for them.
Sure.
So that's always why we start there first.
So goal number 7. Meetings and legal opinion being considered for future owner of library cafe.
Can I bother you for a page, trustee Verma?
30, I believe. 31, 30?
31.
31, okay, thank you.
That's in the bottom.
Yes.
Meetings and legal opinion. What is this
So we have in our packet this evening, there was a letter received from Mr. Bernstein's legal counsel. When I sat down with him and let him know on February 6th that the library wished to go out for bid and not do a renewal of his contract, he then connected with an attorney, and the attorney sent us a letter. Then the following letter that's in the packet is a response from our attorney letting him know that that was not our intent to continually renew our lease, but to eventually go out for bid. So now I'm waiting on their attorney to respond back again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the goals and the updates on the goals?
I will add one thing that I put in there, and that is that we did apply for the Library of the Year award. I don't know if you saw that.
We did, yeah.
I have no idea. This is a national award, so this is the American Library Association. It covers, you know, the 50 states, and lots of libraries, I'm sure, are applying. This was the first time that after the years of opening the building that, you know, I sat down and the words just flowed. So I think that's a good time to write something like that. I wasn't being challenged by what to put in there. I felt very confident in the things I was writing. I will be happy to share with you what the submission was. I didn't put it in yet just because I just thought I'd make you aware of it, but I'll be happy to send it to you.
But what is the process when you submit it, so somebody will come and visit?
No, they don't actually do a visit. It's all through the writing that I provided to them. The award is a $10,000 cash award, and a lot of major media publicity, and you are recognized, you know, nationally as that Library of the Year. So that it's the largest, or the biggest, I should say, award next to the one that is presented by the president, which is the National Merit Award. So that would be the next one after that, I guess. But I feel very good. I had our managers read through it. Asking for input if there was anything that I missed. You know, after you submit it, then you always think, oh, I guess I could have put this in, but that's a good thing because we have so many things to highlight. But they will let us know typically in early May, mid to early May. And then if we are a winner, we would receive the award at the American Library Association Conference, which takes place the end of June in Florida this year. So we'll wait and see and plan, but it's a very nice gift and a very nice opportunity to, talk about how great we are, because we are.
The public libraries.
It's for libraries, I'm trying to think. That's a great question. Because it's American Library Association, I do not believe it is just public libraries. I believe it's all libraries. Correct.
Oh my God.
Yes. So, yes, I don't believe it, because they have a separate PLA, Public Library Association. I do not believe it's just public, it's all.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Sure.
I had a chance to take a quick look at a draft of what
Yes,
she
you
was
did.
submitting, and as you would expect, it looked really cool. It was not a written report at all. It drew on some of the things that we've used in other situations, and really highlights a lot of the things going on, and I think gives a good flavor, at least what I saw, a good flavor for the type of library and the way it works. So it'd be real exciting to see how it comes out.
I'll be happy to share it with all of you.
Yeah. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Me too.
All right. 9B, Library Board Officer Elections. Trustee Verma, I believe you have some information on this.
Yes, I have talked to the members of our trustees, and I have got this slate. Craig Mazanet as the president, and Tara Misner as vice president, Melissa Agosta as a treasurer, and Ramesh Verma as the secretary. This is the slate. If anybody else would like to add any or delete any, please let me know.
You sound outstanding.
Any comments or questions? If not, I believe we need to put that slate to a vote. So all in favor of the slate as was detailed by trustee Verma, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? It passes unanimously. Thank you for doing that.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. 9C, approve the addition of a library board bylaw review committee for 2016, 2017. Before we vote on that, which I think we do need to do, Julie, would you explain why this has come up?
Sure.
And then I think as we discussed, there are some committees that you would anticipate being perhaps not as busy as others. So when people wind up maybe getting on 4 or 5 committees, they won't feel quite as overwhelmed.
Sure, absolutely. In fact, what I did this time on the agenda for you, I gave you a little bit of a heads up as to what I'm thinking for the next year, for 16, 17, as to what committees might be working on. So if you look at the bottom under 13, committee reports, the policy committee will review the current public policies this year. So if anyone's interested in getting involved in that. HR, we just finished the HR policies. There is still the director review and potentially a salary study that I would like to look into for this year, for the employees. C is the finance committee. I do believe we should work towards a financial plan based on the building assessment that we'll do starting in July or whenever we get that going in the new fiscal. The events, marketing, fundraising, and fundraising committee. I know that we will have a 2016 gala, and I just put outreach events because I'm not quite sure at this point. So that one might not be super, super busy, but it could, depending on what we decide. Strategic planning, definitely we'll do an annual review of the current plan, but I don't see too much going on with that. Building and landscape, we do have the entrance project that will get started in June. The Energy Reduction Coalition project, that's still, a potential opportunity, and then the building assessment that will go on this year. So the purpose of the Library Board Bylaw Review Committee, that would be one I'd be adding, so you'd be looking at seeing a G added to the list this year. I honestly, and as far as I know, we have not done a review since I've been director. I hate to admit that. So it's been about 8.5 years. We've had a lot of changes with the boards, and what I found is I was actually going to the bylaws a lot this year. And Trustee Verma, you brought up a great point of, the 5-minute rule with what we're approving right now versus the 3 with the city. If we go back and look at the bylaws this year, we could potentially make some changes that might, maybe equal the city if possible, or, just clean up some things that haven't been looked at in a long time. So that's why I think it's a good time to do that.
Good. That said, I do believe that the board needs to vote to approve that committee. So does anyone have any questions about why that committee would be formed and what it might be doing before we vote on it? Okay. Is there a motion anyone would like to make? Okay. It's been moved to add a library board bylaw review committee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? It passes unanimously.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. 9D, library board committee appointments. We obviously have lots of holes on the old committees as they stand because we've had people leave the board in the past few months, and people may want to make some changes. So, Julie, refresh my memory, or Ramesh, perhaps you recall, how did we go about filling these last time?
I believe they were more people being interested and offering up
This is like
an
a
opportunity.
volunteer type of person.
Okay.
But now I think we 2 of us are not here.
Right.
Have they shown any interest anyway?
Not that I've heard. So we could potentially wait until the May meeting if you'd like, and I could send out something, having everyone kind of review, knowing that we've just added a G in the bylaw committee, and then go ahead and look for people to make, would you want them to make recommendations to you in order to figure out a list?
I think they should let us know which one they would like to be added.
Okay, maybe we have people choose 2,
Right.
because I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, We have 7 members, so if everyone took 2, then we should do, okay. And then
Okay.
I'll send out an email this week and I'll have them respond to you though, okay?
Good.
That's great. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And if someone wants to be on 3, because some of these will not be as active, don't feel
Correct.
hindered
Right.
or restricted in any way. We always, a lot of times there's a need to meet and not everyone on the committee can be available. So it's good to have at least a couple people, if not 3. So if you're willing to get exposed to some of these areas, I can tell you, the ones I've been on have not been painful, they've been enjoyable, so don't feel restricted. Moving on to 11, Treasurer's Report. Trustee Augusta, I'm assuming that perhaps you didn't come prepared since you've only been treasurer for 30 seconds. All right. Well, let me just real quickly give a quick review. Starting with the budget, which is on pages 32 through 34, you will see there that we've got both the current fiscal year budget and the 2016-2017 fiscal year budget. Both of those, of course, have been approved. They're what you've seen before. Just to recap briefly, the current fiscal year budget shows projected revenue of $2,673,000, expenditures of $3,087,000, which would indicate a consumption of our fund balance of $414,000. We are, as you'll see in just a minute, doing much better than this through the first 9 months of the fiscal year. Looking at next year's budget for FY 16 and 17, the budget calls for revenue of $2,774,000, expenditures of $3,018,000, and a fund balance usage of $243,000. So significantly less projected fund balance usage than what we had for the current fiscal year. If we move on to the expenditure and revenue and expenditure report for the current fiscal year for Fund 268, that's on pages 35 through 38. Our revenue increased by not quite $15,000 in the month of March, and our year-to-date revenue is $2,736,593. Our expenditures increased in March by $258,000. There was one item, Julie, that kind of stood out when I looked at it, and I was hoping you could explain. I think it has to do with perhaps things not necessarily being on the right line, but it's on page 38, the capital outlay. You'll see an expenditure of a little over $25,000 that had no budget on that line item. So if you would, explain to the board what that situation is.
Yes, in fact, I contacted the city. They have wrapped all of the money. If you see the $136,200 in the original budget there under building improvements, they've put all the money that we've allocated, which are actually under different accounts, in that one lump sum. So it is sitting out on its own, but it is accounted for, and I will work with them to see if they can separate that out. I don't know why they did that. What I'm not worried about, though, is it is under a general budget, and it's only at 29%, so we're not exceeding anything in the
Right.
overall budget. But I will bring to their attention that it's not under the correct spot.
Okay, yeah, it just looks
Yes.
better
Absolutely,
if we spend money on a budgeted item. So.
right.
Going back to the expenditures, through the first 9 months of the year, we spent $2,010,000, which is about 65% of what we had budgeted for. Since we're now through 3/4 of the fiscal year, our overall position on expenditures remains very good. Through 9 months, we've had a positive net of revenue and expenditures for Fund 268 of $726,034. So barring any unforeseen expenditures, we are on track, still on track, to use very little of our fund balance this year, and certainly the least amount of fund balance usage in several years. So we've been on track for that, and we've stayed on track, which is really good. Fund 269, there was really no significant activity for Fund 269 in March. If we take a look at the balance sheets for the two funds on page 42, the balance sheet for Fund 268 shows our fund balance at the end of the month to be $2,445,000. And on the next page, you'll see the fund balance for 269 at the end of the month to be $1,655,000. So again, finances have stayed on track and are looking good for where we're at this year. Comments, questions on finances? Okay. Moving along to number 12, the director's report.
So just a few things just to highlight for you this evening. We did finish up our HR policy manuals. The staff has received them, so I just wanted to give you a heads up to that. Old ones have been received. We're in the process of doing a lot of shredding so that nobody has any wrong information out there. We had a wonderful guest, the Consul General of Japan, Mitsuhiro Wada, and his wife, Mako. Trustee Verma actually made the initial introduction and joined me in giving him and his wife a tour. It's great to have them in our area and had a chance to come out and see the library and see how, you know, the Japanese population is very much using the library and how well we support them in our library and in our community. So we've made new friends. As you can see, he did receive a complimentary library card, so we hope that when he's in the area, he will use it. He can also use it at other libraries that he's visiting, which is so great about our cooperative. Trustee Mitchner and Christina Salvatore were available to attend the April 4th City Council meeting, which is where they received their proclamation for Library Week, National Library Week. So thank you so much for being in attendance. I understand it went well and there was some great information shared. And then just last Saturday, we had an event in cooperation with Walled Lake City Library. That was our first with getting out into the north area like that and trying to connect with some families. I'm happy to tell you that we had over 60 people in attendance, so we were excited about that because, of course, the weather was wonderful. And, you know, sometimes libraries, we struggle when weather's nice. Sometimes people don't attend because they've got other things to do. So, but we had a great turnout. The librarian, the director over at the Walled Lake City Library was also very pleased. And there was a renewal of a library card, which we made available so that if anyone wanted to get a new card or renew, they could do that. So we'll be looking, I hope, to do some more partnerships out in that area with our north end, but it was a great start. You always like to do trial runs like that and see how well it's going to be received. So a huge thank you to the Walled Lake City Library for partnering with us. Attended the city quarterly breakfast, and we introduced some new staff that have just started with the library. But also, I took the opportunity to thank a large committee from the library that has been working on the 3D printing and the policies and the procedures that you have this evening in your packet. A great team. You met Erin Durrett because she was here, in June, who sparked all of the 3D printing opportunities for the library. But Evan Smale and Dominic Doot, Barb Rakowski, and April Stevenson are also other staff that have worked very closely together to bring you those policies and the procedures so that we're ready for May when we are going to be launching our public 3D printer. So we're excited about that. So we recognize them at the breakfast. We had our annual tornado drill, which went very well. For the library, this is something we do every year. We also do a fire drill in August. And then we're going to be looking into potentially some bomb threat drills as well. But just a shout out to the City of Novi's Police Department. They are wonderful to work with, and Ray Garbarino, who tends to come to these and is on site and watches as things happen, because we do these drills with our patrons and during the day. It's very good for him to see what's going on and then give us feedback, and we appreciate that in his time. Other than that, as we move forward, I know that we're going to be talking about the policies. We've talked a little bit about the cafe information already that's in your packet. I'm starting to put some reports, as you can see, from information technology from Barb Rakowski. Also, there was the NPL technology survey, which you have inside, and the results that we received. I sent you the survey itself via email, but these are the results that came from it. We were a little disappointed with the responses. You know, when we did the information services survey, we had over 600 responses to that. And we learned from that, you know, we have to solicit. And we did that with the information services survey. We had someone for a week at the library asking patrons as they came in, would you take a few minutes? And we're going to do the same with this survey in the future. So, but this is, you know, very good information that was received. Yes,
I do have some questions on the survey.
sure.
We've had 2 or 3 of these in recent months, and I've learned a lot from all of them. I think they've all been very productive. This one, page 60, additional comments. As usual, a lot of very positive comments that I think are very accurate and helpful. The last, starting with number 6.
Okay.
6, 7, 8, 9, and the one at the end that wasn't numbered there. I would like to see us, I think, get back with these people who gave us this input and try to help them with what they identified there. Some of it seems like maybe it's just user inexperience, and I don't think maybe any of them are necessarily a criticism.
Sure.
But do we have the resources to call these people and maybe sit with them and help them logging in, or?
We do if they gave us contact information, which we do ask for their email, but some people, you know, are hesitant to give personal information like that. So I will touch base with Barb Rakowski from our IT department to find out if there was any personal information left, contact information, to see if we can do that. What we also could do is, you know, use our e-newsletter to put out some general question things and answer it that way. And I could do that following up with a future e-newsletter as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good point.
Item number, page number 56.
Sure.
So what kind of technology would you like? So there are so many, from 3 to almost 12, they have been asking, so are we going to take any action on that?
We will. This is, I mean, this is what starts to build, you know, classes that we look at providing in the future, strategic planning and things that maybe it's equipment that we might want to think about buying in the future for budgets. So absolutely, this is why we use this, because this is great feedback from the community on how we can best serve them.
It looks like there's a couple items there that they've asked about that we have, so that would be
Another
maybe a
teaching moment.
communication issue that we could work on to let people know.
Absolutely. Thank you.
The question about the newspapers, and that was mentioned on the previous page too.
And we do have access to them.
We do already have that. Thank you.
So it's another teaching moment. This is why we do this though, because we find where people don't know things. And, you know, we have so much that we're offering that I think when you have so much, sometimes it gets missed. So, yep, this is why we appreciate comments like this to connect. Moving forward, there is a facilities report that is included as well as a report from Information Services and April Stevenson on some of the programs that both adult and youth that happened through the month of March. Then we move on to a number of,
Hold on.
oh, I'm sorry.
Page number 61, the facility report. The first one, the monthly fire extinguisher inspection has been completed. So when they do the inspection, do they have a card there, they put their date and sign?
Yes, it's all done inside the compartments.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
No, but just a comment, I guess, please let people who submit things like this, in this case, Keith and April, know that we appreciate not just the work, but the detail and the reporting, so we can quickly scan and
Yes.
see what's going on.
Absolutely. This is why, you know, with the changeover with some of our upper management, it gives them a chance from the staff to be sharing what they've been doing, what they've been working on with other staff members. So I'm glad that they're able to, you know, talk about some of their accomplishments. We have a number of pages that have statistics. Everything is going very well with our numbers. And then the Historical Commission information is also followed. I do have some good news. We are almost completed with the contract for the David Barr and Villa Barr book. That did take some time to negotiate and go back and forth. And hopefully that will be ready to go so that we can sell the book at the Spring Into Novi event on March 14th. So we're very excited about that in terms of moving forward. So I'm happy to take any other questions if you have any.
Doesn't look like it.
Thank you.
Are we down to committee reports, it looks like?
You are?
Okay. Policy committee, doesn't seem like there's anything to report.
Correct. No action.
HR committee, we've done the officer elections and we've talked about the committee appointments. Finance committee is calm at this point in time. It looks like the only one really with anything is the building landscaping, and we touched on that earlier. Just to comment briefly, Julie and I met to review the references that we got from people who had used the Energy Reduction Coalition. And the majority, if not all of the comments that we got in referrals were positive. So we had a couple other questions we wanted to ask these folks to see about a few things they hadn't mentioned. But at least so far at this point in time, it looks positive. And when we get some more feedback, we'll put that together. And I think we'll probably have something for the board relatively soon on that. As you see there, the bid opening for the main entrance project is scheduled for tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Yes.
At 10 a.m. So that project will be moving along, starting tomorrow at a little quicker pace. We also talked about the two letters in there that you see regarding the cafe, and I don't think we need any further discussion at this point in time on that, unless anyone has any specific questions.
I just have two questions.
Yeah.
The entrance project, exactly what are we doing? And then what is the Energy Reduction Coalition? What do they look at?
Okay, I'll answer them in order if I can remember the order. The project for the entryway is to create two outbound lanes where we now have one. So we'll essentially add a right turn and create a left turn lane to hopefully relieve some of the backlog or backup of traffic trying to get out. And we'll still have an inbound lane right where we have it now. I think they'll probably, I'm not sure, but they're talking about also doing just a little bit of shoulder work as you approach our entranceway
Yes.
to fix that a little bit.
Did they come up with the final draft of what it's going to look like yet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything that was submitted in the packet back in last month
Yeah.
was the finals.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's actually two bids going out because there's two options. Both have a little different cost, which is why they thought they would put them both out and see depending on what comes in. One involves a little more work. There's some heating and some concrete issues as well, and they thought they would address that along with it if they could. And that's why there's a difference in the bids. So we'll see.
As far as the Energy Reduction Coalition, in a nutshell, what they do is they will come in and provide energy efficient lighting to the library. They'll study what we have. They'll come up with equivalent or better alternatives that would lower our cost. They will install it and maintain it during the contract period. We will share with them some of the energy savings that we get from that. That's, I think, a pretty nutshell summary.
So we'll save money and then they get a portion of it.
Correct.
Correct.
Yep.
So there's no money outlay in the beginning.
That's what we're understanding. But
Yeah,
we've not gone to contract or anything yet with them. We're still doing some work. As Trustee Mesernak shared, I called on a number of references, with some of the entities locally that have worked with this nonprofit in order to do this, and it was very positive. Because we were approached and we thought this might be a great opportunity for us, but we wanted to look further into it, so it's.
yeah, and I think we're spending around $100,000 a year on electricity.
Well,
So-
yes, electricity.
So not all of that
Not all
is
of it's
subject to
lighting,
be
but it- yeah.
lighting, but a large portion of it
Sure.
is. So we're looking at saving several $1,000s a year. We can't quantify it yet, but for what appears to be a pretty minimal risk, the reward seems quite good. So, again, that's still in process, but we just wanted to give you an update on it. Any other questions on the committee reports? If not, that takes us to our second opportunity for public comment. Again, in order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session, therefore library board members will not respond to questions. It is, however, an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. Again, seeing no one coming forward to the podium, we will move on to point 15. As you see there, we would like to go into an executive session to discuss some privileged information that we need to go through with the board. In order for us to do that, we do need to have a motion and I think, majority, if not unanimous, support to go into executive session. So if you have anything you'd like to discuss on that, fine. If not, I would entertain a motion to move into an executive session. We will come back in here to wrap up.
So moved.
Okay, second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right.
Okay, we're going to move into executive session right behind.